All right, yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Okay. So let's start with the brain and see if we have a good brain here, huh? No, we don't. Well, yeah, we do. Okay, this will work.
The dumb short.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to start with the brain because this was the first thing you dissected, remember? The brain. Okay. So let me ask you what you can tell me. What's this?
Nerve cord?
Yes, a spinal nerve cord. Very good. These are chordates, right? What makes it a vertebrate chordate?
The backbone.
The bone that was around it. Although the vertebrae that are around this spinal cord are not made of bone, but cartilage, because this is chondrichthyes, it's a cartilaginous fish. Okay. But it's still a vertebrate because it still has the same structure as our vertebrae. It's just not ossified. Okay. So the spinal cord enlarges into this thickened area up here. What's that called? Medulla oblongata. What's that for?
Breathing.
Fundamental functions.
Homeostasis. Yeah, fundamental homeostasis functions like maintaining breathing rate and heart rate and blood pressure, all those things are in the medulla. And our medulla oblongata does the exact same thing. Okay, so medulla oblongata. Make sure that other people can also see these. Okay. All right, so then what's this?
Cerebellum.
Cerebellum. Okay, what's the cerebellum do?
Thinking.
Balance, not thinking.
Oh, that's a
There's not much thinking in this child. What does the cerebellum do? Coordination. Muscle coordination. The way I remember it is our cerebellum actually does the same thing the shark cerebellum does. It's for motor coordination of muscles and balance. So cerebellum, ballet. Good way to remember. Ballerina uses her cerebellum to balance herself and to coordinate her muscles, right? Okay. So the cerebellum and the medulla oblongata together constitute the hindbrain of the shark. And the hindbrain is something that all vertebrates have. We have this too, then it does the exact same thing in us that it does in the shark. And you can see that the hindbrain is really almost the biggest part here. Okay, so going forward, we have the midbrain of the shark, which is here. Now, what are these called? They're lobes. Optic lobes. Good. So optic lobes, so obviously what do? They process vision. Right, process visual signals from the eyes. Here's the eyes on either side of it. If you dig down a little bit, you can see, oh, this is a really nice optic nerve here. See that right there? The white nerve. Okay, go past the muscles on the top. And down deep, you have a white nerve that's the optic nerve, and it leads to the optic lobes. Logically, right? Okay, so sensory signals that come from the retina in the eyes travel through the axon bodies that make up the nerve and go to the optic lobes where it's processed, and the shark figures out what it's going to do about what it's looking at, right? Okay, you go forward and you have the forebrain of the shark. What's this? Really nice specimen too. The cerebral cortex, or the cerebrum. Don't mix up cerebrum with cerebellum. Very different structures. Cerebellum, motor control, right? Cerebrum, in us, it's the biggest part of our brain. When you guys look at a picture of the human brain, what you're mostly seeing is our cerebrum, right? That convoluted, lots of folds, all kinds of areas in the cerebrum. We've got areas, associative areas for memory and the hippocampus, and we have advanced processing areas for vision, all kinds of speech areas. Okay, the shark does not have any of that. The shark does not have deep memories. It doesn't have short-term or long. It's very, very simple. The cerebral hemispheres of the shark are dealing with processing information, but mostly, I think, dealing with processing sensory information, what it's getting, feeling from the skin, and also one of the biggest senses in the shark is what? Going up here. The smell. Yes. Remember how powerful the shark smell is? Something like, a drop of blood in 10 million gallons of water. Very sensitive smell. So forward of the cerebral hemispheres, we have the olfactory tracts here and here. And we have the olfactory bulbs and sacs. And if you lift this guy up, those bulbs and sacs on this side connect with these things. What are these?
Nares.
They're not spherical. These are the nares nostrils, right? This is the nose. Okay, so this is the nostril. The nares is the technical way to say it. And the nares allows the water to go in, and then the receptor cells, the olfactory receptor cells that detect those chemicals, whatever they might be, that are interesting to the shark, are in the olfactory sacs, which are not off. In a lot of these sharks, they're kind of squashed because the noses get a little bit squashed. But in this one, it's not too bad. The sacs are up here, and the bulbs would be like the neurons that are connected to those receptors. The bodies of the neurons would all be in the sacs, and then the axons of those neurons would make up the nerve. That's what most nerve tissue is. It's the axons. Remember the action potential that move along the axons? It all fits together, folks, doesn't it? Okay. All right, so there's the smell. Now, if I pick him up, and if I were to pin these little pores that are underneath his rostrum, what are those called? Ampullae of Lorenzini. I guess an Italian named these, right? Okay, Lorenzini, Mr. Lorenzini. And what are they for? They sense electrical fields. Very good. Okay. Maybe, I'm not sure about that, but I do know that they sense electrical fields. And if you were paying attention to the video on the sharks that we showed you the other day, they showed a really great animation going into the ampullae of Lorenzini. They showed that the receptor cells are filled with jelly. There's these sacs full of jelly. And it's those jellies that actually detect the electrical fields that the shark is swimming through. So, remember the movie The Matrix? We're all like little batteries giving off slight charges. It's real, okay? This is a very rare sense in an animal. This shark can swim along the bottom, and if there's living things hiding in the corals or the rocks on the bottom, it can sense their electrical fields coming at him, and then can go after it. Almost everything in this shark's body is designed to either be able to sense prey or go after it and jump on it. Okay, that's basically the simplicity of the shark. Jaws movie was right. Okay, they swim, they eat, they make little sharks. That's it. Okay. So the other things that I was asking here, I think I can show you. There is a vagus nerve leading down. It's not very visible here. It may have already been cut off, but if you see a nerve going down like this, okay? I don't really see it here, but there is a vagus nerve that goes down this way. And it's a sensory nerve that goes down into the lateral sides of the shark and allows the shark to innervate the sides of its muscles, okay, and probably also its lateral line. Another thing that I might ask, where is it? Difficult to see on some of these sharks, but if you look along, a lot of times it happens right around the point where the counter shading is. There's this line of pores that goes along the sides. And what is that called? The line, lateral line. Okay, now that's different from the ampullae of Lorenzini. What does the lateral line detect? More sensory cells. Vibrations, right. Again, they went in and they animated that in the movie, if you noticed. If you go into one of the pores in the lateral line, you won't find sacs of jelly. Instead, you find receptor cells that have little fibrils or tendrils, filaments floating around. So that this shark can then go along, and if there's something flopping around and dying over here, the waves will ripple past it and go past those little filaments and activate the receptor cells and send it a signal telling it, there's something over here we want to investigate because it feels like it might be dying, right? Okay. So that's what the lateral line detects: vibrations in the water. The ampullae of Lorenzini detects electrical fields, both designed to detect prey. Okay. Now let's go into the shark's body. Okay. All right. So we start from maybe your second day of dissection. You looked at the digestive organs, right? Okay. So here we have an enormous liver. I think I may have talked to you about this before. What do you know about the shark's liver that's special?
It ensures its buoyancy.
Yes. Why? Why is it so buoyant?
Says oils.
Full of oil. Yes. The shark liver makes oil, a special oil, that because it's lighter than water and because you have such a nice big liver, it helps the shark with its buoyancy. A normal bony, well, normal, I shouldn't say normal. Bony fish have a different way of doing it. They have an air sac full of gas in their bodies that they adjust in order to either float up or down. The sharks have this oil. Okay, so there's the liver. What else does the liver do?
Oh, there's what?
Yes, it's a big detoxifier.